Would you all please, with your applause, welcome Prime Minister Joma. We're delighted to have him.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for this kind for giving me the opportunity to meet you and for this kind invitation. I agreed with organizers that I will speak in English, so you will support my English during 15 minutes, but I'm allowed to switch in French if needed. That's the rule. Okay. So I'm happy to be with you. I'm happy to get this opportunity to share with you about my opinions and about the situation in Tunisia. I know that a lot of you are eager to know more about what is happening in Tunisia. You know that we succeeded since 2 months, a little bit more than 2 months, to end the big political issues which occurs after the revolution. 3 years ago, it starts with some young people, leaderless, political leaderless. It's like a spontaneous movement by the people who were, these young people who were educated, for a part of them, unemployed, and looking for freedom, but looking for something simple in the life, like jobs, like education for their sons, for their kids. During 3 years after this revolution, after this fact, the period it became political. You know, we did not have many opposition parties, and now we should have more than 160. I think that we exceeded the United States and all the North America. So if you need, we can help you developing that. And all of that creates many tensions as well, since the state was shaken, since there was a big expectation and big frustration from many areas and from many people. It creates and generates some social tensions. And all of that, you know, it was not sure that we could and that we would succeed to find the door to a peaceful and a peaceful conclusion. But when we know the Tunisian history, when we know the Tunisian people, we know that always they avoided the extreme solution, they avoided the violence, they refused it and they rejected. And that's what happened. We found the way to conclude that by the dialogue. So there was an initiative from the civil society, and particularly from what we call the quartet. The quartet was composed by the union, labor union, associated with the employers, or let's say the trade and industry chamber, with the lawyer order and the human rights organization. These 4 organizations made the mediator, and with a hard but successful dialogue, we succeeded to vote and to adopt the constitution, which is a secular constitution, which is a constitution which guarantees the universal and fundamental rights, freedom, like the freedom of conscience, like the freedom of worship, so many secular and many We are really proud of this constitution, and I think all of you, you know a lot or a part of that. So it was really big successful. We spent 3 years to find that. Maybe it's so much, it's a lot, but when we know how things are happening everywhere, if we study the history or even if we examine the geography today, we know that that's the price to pay, and it's a limited price. With this dialogue, it was an agreement from all the parties as well to give and to composer, alors en français, pour composer un nouveau gouvernement. To constitute, to set up a new government, non-political government, and I'm since two months now the head of this new government, who has to be neutral, non-political, with the equal distance from each and all the parties, and with the mission. The first mission is to organize the election, to turn the page of the last step of this transitional period. So to do that, it's not so easy, but I think that we believe that we will succeed in that. And the first thing is to offer the right atmosphere, the right climate for and the organization of this election, that they have to be fair and transparent, and that's our first mission. For that, we have to offer security. And you know that security was and is still a big issue in our region and for our country, for Tunisia as well. So we think today that the scare is coming more from outside or imported things than local, because locally there was really some issues that with the help of the population, to be direct with you, with the revolution and with what the revolution all around in Libya and Egypt and Syria, we got some trouble. We got some terrorist cells introduced in weapons and all the means to make some attacks. Terrorism was not, we are not used with this phenomena in Tunisia. And that's why I think we did not react in the best way by the beginning, because we were not trained to that. And as well because the state with the revolution was shaken and a little bit disappointed. But since that time, we organized ourselves, and since 1 year now, we have the right organization to withstand this phenomena and to fight it. We have a clear determination. There is no place for terrorism or extremism in Tunisia, because we never know that, and we never choose that, and we are organizing ourselves today to improve our organization, to be able to answer even to the random events. So that's the first step, and we get some progress this last week by fighting them and beating the head, the operational head of this organization. And we are looking to cooperate and to work with all our friendly countries, among them, as you can imagine, United States, because this phenomena, it's no more local, it's regional, and more than that, sometimes it's universal. And to have the right answer, we have to to look for a good cooperation, exchanging information, but as well experience and working together. And that's one of the aim of all my visits to all the friendly country, besides the economic and politics, is to work on security. It's important to prepare the election in the right way, but it's important for the future of the country. It's important to give Tunisia the opportunity again to open all the doors for investors. So it's a crucial thing. We are determined to fight each phenomena like terrorism or each thing which is not qui sort du cadre de la loi. Tout ce qui est hors la loi. Illegal. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second, to offer the right climate for fair and good organization of the election is as well to take care about the economy. You know, I told you that the 3 last years were difficult. There was big disputes, political disputes. You know, our parties were learning as well how to make politics, and they made a good learning because everyone understood in Tunisia that the only way to manage this country is the consensus, is the agreement. And it was hard learning, good learning, but it has a price. And we discovered that the price today is economical. So we have some difficulties. We have the main difficulties we have in economy is the budget deficit. We have a big budget deficit since there was a big social pressure. And so they tried at that moment, which was a difficult moment, to manage that by increased salaries, by hiring in the administration. So we have a big salary increase for the state. As well, we have a system of subsidies. It's okay? Subsidies, yeah. A system of subsidies to compensate the energy price and all the elementary food and so on. And during these 3 years, the cost was multiplied by 3. So you can imagine the weight on the budget. There was a big pressure, and no government could move and launch reforms on that troubled time. Today, we are facing that. So we know that to ensure election today, but as well to ensure sustainability, durability, and perennity for democracy, we have as well to offer the right economical ground, because we don't have to forget that the revolution was made for job, for better life, and today we cannot say that 3 years after that we offered that. So we have to pay attention for that. We have, in the analysis of this government, the threat will not be security, the threat will not be political, it could be economical and social. So, and we are working hard on that. We have 2 kinds of measures that we have to take. Quick measures, because we are managing the country for till the end of the years. And so what we decided is really to push to quick wins, to show to the people that we can realize. And even though they were waiting with big promises during 3 years without having the dividend of the revolution, we can together work and have some dividends quickly. But to solve the problem, we have to make reforms. And this government is not expected to make reforms. It's not a long-term government, it's a short-term government. The main mission is to prepare the election. But even though we are not expected, we have to do that. And really, we are determined as well to start the reforms. And for that, we will use the same mean that and the same way to check issues that with which we succeeded in the politicals, I mean the compromise and the dialogue. And that's why for these big reforms, we are now involving all the parties. We are involving all the organizations like labor union and the trade and the industry community for a dialogue for the reforms. So we have many things. So I told you about this compensation system that we have to review, and we have to review quickly. We have the reform of the banking system, because if we want to finance the economy, we have to improve that. And you know, the banking system in Tunisia during the last years of the previous regime was not working with the rules that we are used and you are used here. There was some corruption, to say things that, so we are now making an audit and launching a reform, and we have to accelerate that. We have as well, and we decided not to hire anymore in the public administration, which was not the expectation of the people who were using these last 3 years to wait for a chance to be hired in the administration, because we don't believe that it's the best way. We know that, and we want to push their productive jobs, and so that's why we will push as well and encourage all the private initiatives by putting in place some mechanisms to help even for individual entrepreneurship. So that's the major things that we have to do. It's, I think that we will not get a lot of time to rest, but be sure that we are determined to do that, and that will be made mainly by the people, by the Tunisian people. There is two things which are important as well in this period, and personally I am really convinced that we have to focus on that. The first is to restore the authority of the state, because you know the revolution made some debates, which is normal, but it's time if we want to build something, the durability, I mean, another durability, the sustainable, we have the chance of Tunisia that it's a state which was built with institution, big institution, and that's why we resisted to the revolution without any collapse, because we built a state with institution, and now we have to restore that with the cover of the new laws and the cover of this constitution, this new constitution, but we have to do that. That's a key factor. And the second is really to motivate people to work harder, because we know when you have a crisis like we have to make some sacrifices and we have to work harder. It happens always like that. All the lessons learned from the nice experience all through the world, Asia or anywhere, it's necessary to do that. But it's not enough. We need as well to cooperate and to we need the support of all our partners, and mainly in this difficult period, and particularly from United States. You know, we have a deep and historical relationship with the United States. I think that the first relationship was in the end of it's around 1780 or 1795, yeah. So more than 2 centuries of relationship, And we were one of the first countries recognizing United States, and United States were one of the first countries recognizing the independence of Tunisia. So it's a long time relationship, and we look today forward to strengthen this relationship. We have an agreement. We made an agreement in 2002 of trade, the TIFA, and I would like to say that we are really working and pushing to have a free trade agreement. What we are looking to do is to push and to elevate our relationship with the United States like the ones we have with Europe. You know that Europe today is our first partnership. We are making 80% of our trade with Europe. So we are well trained to work with Western people, and I think that it's time now to push our relationship, and that's anyhow our wish, and we will work hard to get that, to push our relationship to the best position with the United States on all the sectors. I mean, economy, but I am here with the delegation to speak about new technology, to speak about education, to speak about security, and I would like to get the support of all the people here in the United States. I know in this room that we have many ambassadors, so please work hard as we have to do, the government, to push all this idea and to get step by step the relationship that we are looking for with the United States. So I will not say more for the moment, and even though I did not cover all the things that you are expecting, I prefer to discuss with you in an open way. So please, I'm at your disposal for all your questions.
Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister.
C'est confortable.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much for that presentation. I'm John Alterman. I direct the Middle East program here, and I'm also the Brzezinski Chair in Global Security and Geostrategy. We are delighted to have you here. We're delighted to have you here at this moment. We're going to open up the floor to questions. I would ask 3 rules. 1, that you identify yourself. 2nd, that you only ask 1 question so that everybody has a chance. And 3rd, that you ask your question in the form of a question, which is to have an actual question and not a statement and then saying, what do you think of my statement? To demonstrate, perhaps I'll ask a question. I'm John Alterman. I run the Middle East program.
I will try to make it work.
No?
How does
it work? Good? Are we good now?
How does it work? 1 moment.
We're experiencing operating difficulties. Please stand by. Is that better? It goes the other way.
Yes.
Okay. If you turn it this way. Okay. Perfect.
It's okay.
You have been on an incredible journey in Tunisia. Over the last 3 years, you've seen tremendous change and unpredictable change in many ways. As you talk to people in Washington, what do you wish people in Washington knew about the changing politics in the Middle East that you know because you've lived through the last years in Tunisia, but Americans don't know?
I think that it's. I think what is important to know is that area is moving. We are looking since a couple of years now to, and with the new generation, which is connected and open to the world. They are looking for some changes and a progress and trending to have more freedom and as well to have a better life. And what is happening today that we discover after this romantic starting, you know, and we call that the spring because It's more than a spring. It was seen and labeled as like a romantic history. We discovered that it's not so easy. And there is, in all the region, now the situation is hard. In Tunisia, I think this experience is turning in the right way today after 3 years. And what I want to say is it is important for us to succeed. But I think it's important for the area. If the experience in Tunisia did not succeed, I don't know what we can offer as perspectives to the people all around, to these young people. We started the changes, we started the revolution, but we would like as well now to start the process to converge to democracy, to more freedom, but as well to more development for the people in the area, giving hope and restoring hope for the young people. So it's important as a Tunisian for me to succeed, but I know that for all of us, it's important if we want to secure this area, if we want to avoid the big troubles. And when we speak about troubles now, it's serious problem of security. And we experimented that in other areas. Now the problem of terrorism and security is not local. It becomes immediately regional and universal. So it has a big meaning to succeed in Tunisia for the whole region. So that's the first thing that I would like to explain. The second is the expectation of people is not ideology. And I'm speaking mainly about the people. We tried many things, maybe the disputes, and it was normal. It's like a debate. But you see, when we voted the Constitution, it was voted by 92 or 93%. It was no religion, no ideology inside. It was a secular constitution because that's the right aspiration of the people. And we still believe maybe it's different in other countries, but the trend should be that one. So it's important now to make this experience succeeding, and to get it succeed, the key is economical.
Thank you. I saw a question here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Josh Rogan. I'm a reporter with the Daily Beast here in Washington. My question is, over the past 3 years, during your country's transition, has the U.S. government and the Obama administration done enough to support your country's transition? If so, what would you say are the 3 top examples of that? And if not, what more can be done from Washington at this point? Thank you.
Alors, non, je vais répondre en anglais. In English. You know, when you say that I have to thank the government of Obama for all the support they gave me, because it's true. But as I have many problems, and to check in a quick time, I will say it's not enough for me. It's a lot from the US government, and really we have a good support and good collaboration, but we are seeking and looking for more support. And that's why I am here, because we know that we can expect that from the US government, and you are a part of this country, and I feel that you are ready to give this support. So which kind of support? I think we are, you know, that we will start a strategic dialogue that includes all the aspects of the collaboration. So we are speaking about more economical collaboration. We are speaking about security, but we are speaking about technology, employment, training. So it's a large collaboration. But I should be honest, we have to thank the US government for all the support, political support, and many kinds of support, and even in the security support. That was some hard time these last 3 years. It was not always linear, but with regard to the deepness of the depth of our relationship, we can look forward more support and more collaboration. And I think, in the meantime, that Tunisia could be an opportunity as well for the United States. When you see the location of the Tunisia, we are in intersection of three big areas. We have Europe, we have the Arab or Middle East area, and the Africa. And we know that Africa and Middle East, it's a potential economic potential. Tunisia, it's one maybe of the best area with the resources we have, with the link and the bridges that we create with these three different areas, could be the right hub to develop interest in this area. We have educated people. The level of the educated, we are at the standard of the European standard. And you have people speaking English, you have people speaking French, German, Italian, Arabic. And we do believe in that. And one of the big trends that we want to give to Tunisia is to give our country this position, a hub or platform to develop our relationship with the United States. And it's not a speech, believe me. I spent a large part of my life traveling to US, Europe, and this area. If we organize ourselves, if we believe in that, we have the means, we have the right resources to do that. And I will work as well with our colleagues and our friends in US to develop the learning of English. I think it's important for us because the economy in Tunisia, since we have high educated people, a lot of high educated people, one of the orientation that we have to give is all these services, ITC, tourism, but some industries. And for that, we have to export to larger and to import from larger market and larger area. Today, the English is mandatory to develop in Tunisia. It does not mean that we will leave the French or the Arabic. No, we have to enlarge to make it richer. So there is a lot to do. We want to check the immediate problems, but we want, through this dialogue, really to make a projection for the future. And we have all the fundamental key factors to succeed and to be a platform and an opportunity for US, but US is a big opportunity for us as well.
Thank you. A question over here in the back, yeah.
Bill Taylor with the United States Institute of Peace. Mr. Prime Minister, you mentioned your success Tunisia's success in this national dialogue run by civil society. We all recognize that Tunisia is the leading candidate for success overall for the Arab Spring and for that region, democracy in the Arab world. We would like to figure out if there is something about this national dialogue that Tunisians undertook, run by the civil society, the quartet that you mentioned, that is applicable to other countries. So my question would be, what was it about Tunisia that allowed that national dialogue to succeed?
Thank you. So I will answer maybe the last question. The specificity of Tunisia, why we succeeded to find that, because it was always through the history of Tunisia, the way is, Tunisian is moderate. And even though when we had such events in our history, you know, I will say it in simple words. It's boring for Tunisian to make revolution for a long time. He needs, when it's summer, he needs to go to the beach. He needs to go to a terrace of cafe. And believe me, it's like that. I am Tunisian and I know. So to say that it's in the constitution of the Tunisian to be moderate and to take time to take advantage from the life. So they spent three years doing that, so it was a lot. So that's in the behavior of Tunisian. But I think it was possible because we have this civil society existing. We have this organization. The union, it's a historical organization, and through the history of Tunisia, each time we got a big trouble, they played a role. We have as well this organization of trade and industry organization, which is historical and which played as well a role through the history. We have this tradition of human rights organization. Even when there was the dictator, they were existing. They were suffering, but existing, and they were really in the resistance. So we have this institution, we have this organization, and we have a state. Really, what saves Tunisia from big troubles is the state. Just after, and we have a tradition. I will remind you something. The first manifeste de Constitution chart. The first constitutional chart was made in 56 or something like that. So we have a tradition. It's not new for us. We could forget it for a short time, but we have that in our history, in our tradition. And you know as well that the slavery, the abolition of abolition slavery, it was in 1846. So we have many things like that which help us, and we have roots. And we know that we have like a spring. We cannot go so far. We are appealed to go back to the right and to the middle position. As well, just after the independence, many choices were taken, like the equality between women and men, and the big investment in since the first year of the investment, the big investment in education and in the institution of the state. So, even during the revolution, our institutions still working. So, all of that helped really to find the way. Is it the same, or I think that each country has its specificities, but I think that it should have an influence. And we know from our neighbors that they are really looking with big interest to that. I'm not sure that they will do it in the same way, but it gave the example that the only way to solve such issue is the dialogue. And we know it's, you know, in Lebanon, they spent 17 years. They tried everything, but the only thing that works, it was the dialogue to solve the problem. So I think it will have an influence, and we would like to serve an example, but I remind that we are not looking to export anything. The only thing that we want to export is our products, our knowledge, and our service.
That's a date and wine advertisement. So I have a question here, and then I have some over here.
Steve McInerney with the Project on Middle East Democracy. You mentioned that your government in Tunisia, your caretaker government that you're now leading, is not expected to undertake reforms, but that despite that, you will undertake reforms, and that it's very important. Could you say a little bit more about which priorities in terms of reform your caretaker government will focus on? There are lots of reforms needed in Tunisia. You mentioned some economic reform. In addition, it's important to see serious reform of the security sector, not only building its capacity, but also serious reform of that sector, also of the judiciary, If you could say a little bit more about what priorities your government will have during this period in terms of reform, and also which kinds of reform do you see the international community, outside actors including the United States, being able to play a constructive role in supporting and enabling you to take these important steps?
I think you asked a lot of questions. If you want me to answer all of that, I will switch in French. You have the choice.
We paid for the translator.
Okay. You paid him?
Oh.
You have to negotiate, renegotiate the price. I will continue in English to allow you to negotiate a good price.
Great business opportunities in Tunisia.
No, I think to explain more what I said we were not expected to make reform, but we have to do. So I did not say we will not do. We have to do. Yeah, I was not expected because it's a short time. So the reforms I told you, to subsidize, to stop hiring in the administration, as well the banking system, we have to reform it, the fiscality, because one of the problems that we get after the revolution is the increase of trafficking. Okay, trafficking. So we have to reduce that. It's a non-formal sector which is creating. We have to control our border for security, but as well for economy. So that's 4 or 5 major things that we have to start today, and as well we have to simplify things for investors. Tunisia, it's an open land for investments. And the Europeans know that very, very well. And even during these 3 traveling years, they still and they continue to invest in Tunisia because we know that. We have really, it's easier than anywhere, and I explained to you that the position of Tunisia and the resources, the skilled resources and competitiveness resources allows and attracts a lot of investors. But now we want to diversify and to open Tunisia to more investors. That's one of the reason of my travel to the Gulf area is to attract and to encourage and to market the possibilities of Tunisia. As well, one of the aim of my travel here, we will meet, I'm accompanied with business women and men, and I will have the opportunity and the pleasure to meet investors. So for that, we have to adapt ourselves to the different mind and the different way to make business. And the main thing that we have to push in this frame time is to simplify again more and more the administration approaches. For example, we are looking to set up a one-stop shop. Bigger the administration is, and stronger is, more laws they put, because in their mind they want to control and make things clean. But for the business and for the investors, it's constraints. And if we can succeed to set up a company and to start working in one day, it's important for us. It's not the same approach for the administration, so we have to push through that direction. So that's the main future. Make it easier for a new investor who does not know the country to get and to create and to invest, and check these 4 big points which are belonging to the state. And all what we do, it will push to more private initiative, to more private activities, and to restrict the role of the state in these new developments to the big projects like infrastructure. And even for infrastructure, we will push for a private, public partnership, yeah, the 3P.
Mr. Prime Minister, we have 2 questions, 2 minutes. I wonder, can I encourage you to ask 30-second questions, and he gets a minute,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
we let
Mr.
him
Prime
go.
Minister, Capital Intel. I set up shop 2.5 years ago in Tunisia because I see Tunisia as the best growth market, probably the best growth market in the world. You have these small American investors like Honeywell, General Electric, FedEx possibly, and other people. You're a center of renewables. You have Liberty in Algeria. You have oil and gas, Anadarko, MVNI. On your trip, you're going to the Chamber of Commerce later. You have the president. Do you expect to, will you be announcing deals at this point on your trip, and which deals do you expect to announce? I mean, Tunisia is doing very well. You have, near Italy and all that on the private sector.
That's one question. The second question right here, sir.
Thank you. One of the main...
Sir, can you identify yourself?
I'm sorry, I'm Dan O'Flaherty at the National Foreign Trade Council. One of the key decisions the Constituent Assembly had to make was whether Tunisia would have a parliamentary system or a presidential system. You seem to have come out with something resembling the Fifth Republic. How would you describe the division of power in the new Constitution between the President and the Prime Minister?
Okay, I will start to answer your question. It's easier. First, I think you visited Tunisia since 2.5 years. It's a lot. You have to come back. You are invited. I think if you want me to make announcement, we have to develop together. No, I will not make any announcement. I have a business background, and I have a rule. I did not announce something which is not already done. So I know with the press who are with me, they will get some frustration, but it's a training. It's not a long period. It will change after, but you have to prepare yourself to that. I was in the Gulf countries, and everyone was expecting for a big announcement. I did not do. I'm sorry, but it's my way to do. So for the kind of the share of for the different the kind of the regime that we have, the organization that we have, it was more parliamentary, but with more balanced share with the presidents than what is done now in this transitional period. So there was a long debate. That's why they took longer time than expected. There is many arguments for myself. I don't have to express any opinion because it's voted in the constitutions, and I will just apply.
I want to thank you all for coming. Please join me in thanking Prime Minister Mehdi.
Pardon, I forget something? J'ai pas compris. C'est raté.
Okay. Please join me in thanking Prime Minister Mehdi Jomai.
No, I know what he's meaning. I can guess. Just 1 minute, please. I can guess what he's meaning. No.
Okay.
No, I did not, no. Because we discussed a lot, and he knows that I prefer, instead of speaking about Spring Arab time or countries, when I speak about Tunisia, I prefer to express it differently. For me, Tunisia is a democracy startup. And like any startup, you have to believe in it, you have to risk, but you have to take the risk, but you have to invest. And I think it's the best moment to invest in this democracy startup. So all of you are invited to invest in that, to help this startup, and I'm sure that the growth of this startup will be quick and big, and all of us will take the dividend from this. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Minister.